Station, Union Metro, Assembly Center, Monument of Arts, the Fisherman's Wharf, 15 bus stop, 30 stop, 25 minutes. All that and more. Over 3rd and Market, next time.
Hello, my name is Gregory Wiggins. I am a San Francisco Muni operator.
How you doing?
Real good. How about yourself?
Great.
Right on.
Great.
I remember October 19, 1988, the morning that I thought that I was going. I was excited because I was a new kid on the block. And you heard all these negative images of the San Francisco Muni operators. And I wanted to bring something new to the people of San Francisco.
Gregory is the man that everybody knows.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
One day I got on the 38 bus and I was blown away by Gregory.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. 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 Hang on, please. 25th Avenue. Next time. 25th Avenue.
My inspiration to follow him around with the camera was led by the uplifting spirit of his character. Just witnessing him perform his job and just the way he is with everyone, you know, actually made me have a better day. And I think he did that with everyone who rode his bus. I think was affected in some positive way. I approached Gregory Wiggins to do a documentary on him well before I knew about his story. When I met him a month later, I still didn't know anything about this. And he was standing on the corner downtown in the Barcadero area. And he said, "Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in God? Because it's no accident we met." And as we had breakfast, he told me about what had happened to him.
On October 1988, I left my home to go to work and went to pull out a San Francisco Muni bus and went to go start my route on the number 9 line, and police was on the scene. I asked the police officers what was going on. They told me a truck up ahead turned over and your Muni supervisor's trying to get the buses to go through.
I said, okay, I'll move the bus up so the traffic in back of me could get by. He said, okay. So then I came about to this section here, and I was stopped because crossways you had a police car that was blocking traffic here totally. So by me being about right where this Bronco is, there was an officer standing in the middle island here, and he yelled and said, "Move the fucking bus, nigga." And I opened the window and I said, what did you say? He said, you heard me. I said, motherfucking bus nigga. And I asked him, I said, don't fucking talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. And I kept repeating myself. He kept using the N-word. And I kept telling him, don't use it. Don't talk to me like that. By that time, I had 3 officers. I'm getting ready to shut the door. I already pressed central, my communication. At that time, I had 3 officers coming on the bus. When I got ready to shut the bus doors, officers forced the doors open. Central responded. Central just run 565 on the 9. I got these fucking cops harassing me. Central replied, don't use that type of language. Central, I apologize. This is run 565 on the 9. I got cops harassing me. He said, okay, there are supervisors out there on the scene. I'll have them come over. I said, thank you. I put the phone down. I got ready. When I got ready to shut the doors, the officers forced them back open and they was already up. When I went to pick up the phone, they was trying to grab the phone out of my hand to keep me from talking to Central. Nigga, move the bus, move it punk, move it asshole. I said, don't talk to me like that. So at this time, right along here, it was just verbal communication with me and the police officer. At some point, the officer told me, move the fucking bus, nigga. I said, I'm moving the bus, but I'm not your nigga. So I take the wheel and turn right, which is what we call a button hook. You turn right so you can swing out so you won't hit nothing. So when I went to do that, the officer grabbed my hand and I said, what the hell are you doing? You asked me to move the bus and I'm moving the bus. So then at this point, they on the bus, verbal abuse at this time. So then we get out of the lane of traffic on this side. We get out of the 1, 2, 3 lanes of traffic on the other side, which is north and south as well as north. And we park right in front the Bayside Motel Hotel, which is now the Travel Lounge. So then I open the doors, the police officers get off the bus. I close the bus. Then I start walking to the back of the bus to try to find out where's the supervisor. At that point, officers was running to the front door. I'm going to sit in the chair to open the door for them. And before I could put my hand on the handle to open the door, before I could turn the handle, they banging on the door, open the fucking door, nigga. So at this time, I'm saying, don't fucking talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. And at this time, somebody opened the window, turned the knob, cops rush on the bus, reach for my neck, I throw my right hand up. I was handcuffed. The second cop come choking me. I said, you're choking me. He said, die, motherfucker. The first cop came and took my left hand and handcuffed me in a San Francisco Muni bus as a San Francisco Muni operator. At that point, they was choking me, took me out of the driver's seat. 4 to 6 cops stood in the senior citizen seats, applying the chokehold to my neck, putting their knee in my back. From there, they hit my head into the poles, which you stand and hold on to. They threw me on the floor. They kicked me. They stumped me. They hit me over the head with a flashlight. At some point in time, they grabbed me by my hair and the back of my belt and shoved me and drugged me out of the 60-foot articulated Muni bus, down the stairs. And if I could move, I would take you over there to show you where they went. Threw my head down here. Yoshi got on me like that and kept pounding my head. Kept pounding my head and said, all you fucking niggas think you're bad. What you gonna do now? Another officer came and said,
The traffic is picking up. Let's take this nigga in. At this point, there was a lady passing by. I said, ma'am, help me. They trying to kill me. They picked me up from here, shoved me in the car, and took me to 3rd and 20th, the Potrero police station. When they took me to the Potrero station, there was an officer that I recognized, John Sanford, an African American guy. He started laughing. And I said, oh, this is what this is all about. He said, nigga, they kick your ass.
How did you come to know John Sanford?
I came to know John Sanford through an ex-girlfriend of his. We always had a platonic relationship, communication, and I found out that he was beating her, and I would try to give her support until one day she decided to leave him, and we had a shuffling match. And ever since that day of the shuffling match, harassed me, followed me anytime I was in his ex-girlfriend's car. So I had to stop driving her car in order for me not to be harassed. I thought would stop. That didn't stop. Even when she drove at one time, Sanford co-workers stopped me, harassed me. If I would walk from my home in the morning, police would stop me and harass me. And then 2 years later, I get a beating. I could put the puzzle together. I know I can. And everybody will find out that this was based upon a vendetta that I believe that John Sanford had against Gregory Wiggins. That's my personal belief. And somewhere around between 2 and 2:30, they released me and told me to show up in court. I was walking out of the Hall of Justice, 850 Bryant, dizzy, walking side to side. Got the bus and went to the station and asked could I have somebody bring me to the hospital, because I just felt out of it at that time. So at that point, I was taken to the hospital by an inspector. When I got to the hospital, the doctor finally seen me and asked me what happened. What happened to you? I told him. He said, I know that captain down there, Captain Gleason, personally. I'm going to have to get on the phone and tell him this type of abuse should not be accepted. I said, thank you. So he told me that he'll be back. So he made a phone call and took God knows how long, came back and said, okay, I'm going to write you out a prescription. I believe it was for Motrin. And then after that, he told me to come back, make a schedule appointment to see another doctor. Well, I made an appointment to see another doctor. That doctor was just about ready for me to go in the examining room, and the doctor, came out and said, Mr. Wiggins, we cannot see you. Workman's Comp is denying us to see you. They will not pay the bill. I said I thought it was against the law for you guys to deny citizens medical treatment. So that was the end of that. Well, Muni sent me a certified letter on the 21st saying 30-day suspension upon termination. I called Workman's Comp to find out why they denied me medical treatment. And Bob Long said, because I should have listened to the cops. Now, mind you, this guy, claims adjuster Bob Long, was not there at the scene of the crime. But he said I should have listened to the cops. And that's what denied me medical treatment.
What kind of injuries did you sustain on October 19th, 1988?
My throat was crushed from the chokehold that 4 to 6 officers took turn applying the chokehold. So I still have problems to this day with my throat. I still have problems to this day with my back, from them putting their knee in my back, beating me the way they did, with the billy sticks, with the flashlights, with their boots. And I received a fractured hip that still bother me to this day. It's like the weather. But I do have permanent scars that hurts me due to the fact that none of these cops' life have been interrupted.
Now the question is the fact that why did all this happen? The evidence will prove from the beginning to the end of this entire case was trumped up charge. Judge Mary Morgan said, so you saying you arrested Mr. Wiggins because he did not have his California driver's license? Officer Yoshi said yes. She said thank you. When you go to jail, they take your property and they give it back to you on a San Francisco property receipt, a letterhead titled San Francisco Sheriff, San Francisco Property Receipt. 1 black belt, 1 watch, 1 ring, 1 CDL, California driver's license. The evidence is there. They never asked me for my license. There was never a time that I said I did not have my license. We got to keep in mind here, I have a 60-foot Muni bus. I have a full uniform on. I have a jacket behind the driver on the seat of the driver's seat. I have more than one supervisor on the scene. There's several. And the police dispatcher is connected to the Muni. So there was many, many ways of identity. The evidence is there. It's just that no one wants to know the truth. The truth cannot be given if I don't have the opportunity. And that's the major thing here. I have the evidence. And I just feel sorry for anybody that goes before these judges. And Mary Morgan was the best judge through this whole trial. You know, but everybody, the attorney I had, you know, we don't know who we are hiring. At 20, I was 27 years old. I was just beginning to get in the corporate world, so to speak, to find my destiny. And this has happened. And this has stopped my production from 88 to now. My growth. It has really stopped a lot. But again, the evidence is there. And I'm believing that it's gonna come out. It got to come out. It got to come out. I cannot accept it no other way.
We asked the jury foreman, can we talk to him? And he said yes. And we asked him, how can you find Mr. Wiggins guilty? Not guilty on assault and batteries, and find him guilty to resisting. Did the jury not understand the instruction? He said he can't recall if the instructions was in there to follow. He said, but basically what we did, we knew they came to the conclusion that there was no way I could assault 5 officers. And based on the evidence, they found me not guilty. He said a resisting arrest charge, they was confused about it. He asked my attorney to read him the instructions. The jury foreman came back and said, do that mean on both accounts? My attorney said, that mean on all the accounts. Jury foreman said, then we missed that. That's the next thing that happened wrong. Lo and behold, we go to the appellate level to appeal the misdemeanor resisting arrest charge. The appellate level is normally a 3-judge panel. Lo and behold, there's a 4th judge on the bench. And that judge was the same judge who presided over the jury trial. I'm no attorney, but I know that is a conflict of interest. I know that's obstruction of justice. And I hold the other 3 judges accountable for allowing him to sit there also.
The judge who heard the jury trial presided over, got promoted by the ex-governor, Duke Major, to the appellate level. When I went to appeal the resisting arrest charge, there was a 4th judge sitting on the bench, and the 4th judge was Paul Alvarado, who really, I feel, violated my rights, my civil rights, constitutional rights, as well as human rights. And along with the attorney missing deadlines. So here it is, I'm in my 12th year, but I'm still trying to find where the justice lies, because the evidence is there. And if I ever get when I get the opportunity to present it, then the truth will come out. They called an investigation from the Office of Citizen Complaints, which we had a new director, Mary Dunlap. They said Mary Dunlap did an investigation, and she come up with the same findings. Well, first of all, she said she did not want to investigate. But if you investigate everything that they investigated, that they proclaimed they investigated back in '88, and didn't take the evidence that never was entered, anybody would come out with the same thing. And that's basically why she came up with the same thing.
Are they all still on the force right now?
All on the force, all have gotten promotions, and I'm not the first victim of police brutality by these cops. These cops have went from harassing women to raping female cops to shooting people, shooting citizens in the mouth with their gun, and nothing, not 1 day suspension have been taken that these cops have had, not one. So the officers are still, their life never been altered, never been altered, never been altered. They all got promotions, and it's sad, because like I say, you know, these cops are not good. You hear politicians always talking about we want more money to put more cops on the street. But they want to take all that excess money, millions of dollars, to get more cops on the street, but they don't want to spend a dime in reconciling the problem of police brutality. And police brutality is a #1 major problem throughout the United States.
What about the support of the other bus drivers?
The drivers was supported much as possible. I think what turned them away, some of them, because there was operators that supported it. But the establishment of Transporters Workers Union Executive Board said they don't choose to support me because I got a guy by the name of John Murray involved. they never really liked John Murray. When you talk about racism, bigotry, and hatred, we had a predominantly black, predominantly Afro-American executive board that kept trying to, me personally, kept trying to discriminate against John Murray because John Murray was a leader and he had his own beliefs, and they tried to sabotage him, and they said they would not support me because I got John Murray involved. John Murray is a white Caucasian. So they chose to do that. So they was damaged from the beginning, you know. To this day, they still, the union have not, out of every assault that I've had, the union have yet to call an investigation from the district attorney's office or from the mayor's office.
Hey, did you hear about what happened to Wiggins 12 years ago? Who? Wiggins. I came to one of his, I think, meetings. He had a hearing or something like that. I was outside, and, you know, what Wiggins told me, you know, and everything, what happened to him, I felt that they did him wrong, you know, and if it happened the way it happened, I think that was wrong what happened.
And there's not one politician that's willing to stand up and call a fair investigation. And that's all I have ever asked for. If any politician could come along right now and reassure me that whatever team they're going to put on reinvestigating this, and I feel very confident that these people are not biased or not a conflict of interest, which we have in this city, whichever way it goes, I'll be satisfied. But I know with the right people, they will come out with the truth.
These are some articles that I did. Brutalized Muni driver finally gets a hearing from the San Francisco Board supervisors. The supervisors granted a hearing for me to present it to them, so I gave it to them. I read the speech in the newspaper, covered the entire story. This is a Wiggins watch that I did in a New Bayview newspaper. I will keep fighting for my rights. And what's in here, I will keep fighting for my rights, is telling what happened at the scene of the crime and what all the process, all the procedures that I went through in trying to find justice. Part 2 of the Wiggins watch was skills of justice, to show you how unskilled the justice system is in San Francisco, as well as across the nation. And this is showing what happened from the beginning of the trial, and how it's telling you about all the players, from my personal attorney to the district attorney to the judge to the jury. So this is what this is telling you, totally how unjust the justice system is. And I would hate for anybody to go through the justice system in this form. So this is part 2. Part 3 was me picking up the pieces. Picking up the pieces is basically me telling who all I went to seek justice. And I'm speaking of from the San Francisco politicians to the state politicians, from San Francisco to Sacramento to Washington, D.C., to the NAACP, the ACLU, the Urban League. So I don't think I missed any corners. I thought I was going to the right people, but everything had fallen on deaf ears. But I guess that's what normally happens when every organization is labeled under city and county.
So that's what that was, picking up the pieces. So that's the third, that was the third article that was done. And then there was a guy by the name of Aaron Williams who got beat. They allegedly said that he was a burglar suspect. So I did a speech before the Board of Supervisors. And in this is titled "Nigger Move the Bus." And in this speech, I was trying to inform the supervisors, like I recited the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And I asked everyone, if they didn't remember anything here today, please remember these words. And what the words were was liberty and justice for all. And that was the statement that I wanted to send, because liberty and justice was not served. And that's what this one was, July 21st, 95. That's what this one was. From there, I decided to talk to my minister and see if I could use the church social hall to call a town hall meeting. And we tried to get CNN, Larry King, Jesse Jackson, but Larry King was looking forward to come, but there was something that was bigger than this happened at the last minute, so he couldn't make it. Jesse Jackson couldn't make it. But I invited all the politicians from the San Francisco supervisors, all the senators over the state, over the San Francisco area. I invited Nancy Pelosi, who was coming when she found out that CNN was coming. Then at the last minute, she backed out. But basically, all the politicians turned a deaf ear. Supervisor Kennedy did at least give me a hearing. And she said she was going to keep it on the books, just in case I have to readdress it again. And it ain't over. It ain't nearly over. This October 19th, year 2000, will be 12 years from that dreadful morning. Then we actually had the form of the town hall meeting. We had lawyers. We had we invited someone from every level of the Justice Department. We had Milton Grimes, who was Rodney King's attorney from Los Angeles. He came down to be the moderator. We had Earl Sanders, the second chief in command. Fred Lau couldn't make it for whatever reason. But I remember a statement that Fred Lau made, and it went like this: "When I take off this uniform," quote unquote, this is Fred Lau, second guy in command of San Francisco Police. "When I take off this uniform and I'm not visible, the assistant chief of police, I know I'm a candidate to be just another nigger beat up by the police." At the sound of these understanding words coming from newly appointed Chief Earl Sanders, the audience, including many victims of police brutality, jumped to their feet in a standing ovation, knowing that their votes have brought racial change to San Francisco. Also, he stated, if Colin Powell was walking down the street and they did not know it was Colin Powell may be considered a nigger also. So that was the town hall meeting, and I guess it was just wrong timing for everything, but it's not over till it's over, and justice will prevail.
It has affected my life, my growth. It has affected my relationship with my son. I have been in so much pain, physically, mentally, in many ways, till that there's a lot of activities I have not been able to perform from 88 to current. Many activities.
With your son?
Yes, with my son. No ball, my son, all this happened when he was young. So he lost out on a lot of his good years. And I feel bad about that.
Why haven't not one politician chose to be non-biased and call a federal investigation? I think is entitled for that. I think it requires that. When a person's human rights, civil rights, and constitutional rights has been violated, I thought the proper thing to do was to go to our city and state officials. And I went through all of them. And I have documentation to prove how all of them, not 10, but all of them, returned to death. It's appalling. And I would hate for any other citizen to go through with what I went through.
Have you ever tried to run for political office?
Yes, I did. I tried to run for San Francisco supervisor, which was the last term for general election. I was running against Amos Brown, who Willie Brown, San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, appointed to office. I recall doing a fair on 3rd and Evans, and I approached the mayor, and I never forget the words Mayor Willie Brown stated to me. It was very appalling. Mayor Willie Brown, my name is Gregory Wiggins. I chose to step out and run for San Francisco supervisor. What the hell you went and do that for? He got so angry. It's like I stole his 600 Mercedes. He got that angry. But I always felt Mayor Brown did not have to go off on me like that, because if you're that confident in putting this man in office, you should be that confident to know that he could hold his own. So I know I did not have the fair chance to go up against Amos Brown, Supervisor Amos Brown, minister of 3rd Baptist Church on McAllister. I did not have the opportunity, but I know if the opportunity was given in the proper way without them denying me the fair chance to run, they disqualified me over a date error. Whether I would have won or lost, I know I would have reached higher grounds. Because I think everyone has forgotten that there is not just one sector in San Francisco that needs to be represented.
It even goes with me saying why I chose to run for San Francisco supervisor. I felt that I had a platform. One of the main platforms was the fact of I wanted to step in and be a part of correcting the problems with the San Francisco Municipal Railway. I was an insider. I saw the problems. And I wanted to address them problems with the other members of the Board of Supervisors. So I was really I was gearing up for that. And again, I felt that I had something to contribute. A lot of times you got to be there to know what the problem is, you know. And I felt like I knew what the problem was.
It would not be right of me to say that Muni don't have bad apples, just like it would not be right of me to say that Bechtel Corporation don't have bad apples. I think every job have bad apples. And that's a low percentage, just like I would say the police department is not all bad. There's some good officers on the police force, but I don't think that 1% or 2% negative should be on the force. You know, it's a lot of things, you know, and even to this day, from '88 to the year 2000, the new millennium, I still feel like I'm being harassed by Muni management. And it all reflects all the way back to '88. And right now I'm trying to bring being out in the open. It's been a long time coming, but I just refuse to give up the fight. And I really believe that one person can make a difference if the person is given the opportunity to make the difference. And that's where I'm at right now. And the truth is that this never should have happened. Muni never should have fired me. The cops did not have the right to attack me. And the hospital did not have the right to deny me medical treatment. The union did not have the right to not represent me. So it's like, I'm the little man at the end of the totem pole that they just chose to demolish.
The Potrero police station that Gregory Wiggins was taken to, when I went to go to it, discovered it was no longer there on 3rd and 20th. The new station was about 10 blocks from there. When I went in, I found myself frightened to interview the police, where an organization like 2020 or Prime Time could be fearless. I was an individual that was a resident of the city of which they had all this control and power, and I was afraid. But that didn't keep me from telling the story, but that kept me from getting in these officers' faces. And I didn't want them to know what I was doing. I will leave that for the 2020 and Prime Time people out there. Tell that side of the story, and hopefully they will, and hopefully someone, the world will hear him.
Because my case is just a springboard of a larger problem that's happening all over the nation. Don't know if I'm going to hell or heaven. I would like to think I'm going to heaven. But whichever one I'm going to, I'm going from San Francisco. And I'm not giving up until justice prevails. Now, statute of limitations have ran, but the evidence that have never been presented is enough evidence to challenge the courts to reopen the case. You can't get the case reopened. Something like this, when you're the little man at the end of the totem pole, and you're not a Michael Jordan or even Spielberg, we don't exist. We cannot get the media coverage that this really needs.
It's the only way to go here. This got a good mic, too.
Well, thank you for writing San Francisco Muni. And just remember that the San Francisco Municipal Railway really, really loves you.
I remember October 19, 1988, and I was excited, eager, ready to give the passengers what I felt was quality service. A good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening. You know, have a great day. Asking passengers to hold on, hang on. If they can't have a great day, why not let it be pleasant? And I also wanted them to realize that they had to remember only them, only that person as an individual could make that call. So I was very excited. I was very excited. And I tell you what, even to this day, in the new millennium, year 2000, I still do my level best in trying to, not trying because I do it, giving the passengers the utmost courtesy service. And it all boils down to just respecting each other. Something I believe in. And I really believe if we could start off with that, then hey, our day gonna be great.